Hey folks, welcome back to the Horde. Let's see, I don't know, 215, 45, 46 degrees. Kind of overcast, so my batteries, well, at this exact moment, they're not fully charged. You don't see the top green light on. So, what's going on? Well, there's two smells I don't care for in the automotive, all-terrain vehicle, whatever business. Smell number one is that really nasty sulfur grease or oil that goes in transmissions. I used to have a 66 Falcon when a 66 Falcon wasn't all that old, unfortunately. I used to have a 66 Falcon that I did some work on the standard transmission. I got that sulfury oil on my hands from back then, and boy, it stunk for forever, it seemed. And the second thing I don't care for is the smell of 10-year-old gasoline that's been allowed to ferment and get nasty. Oh, horrible stuff. So where are we? Since I last videoed, I took this thing to the car wash and I blasted it off and I washed the fender. And while I was there, I washed the truck, though the truck wasn't dying for a washing. So I did that, and I got the carburetor off, which was difficult because, you know, I had to fight to get the, this is the choke, to get this out. I had to loosen the carb up and then take the mount off here and spin it within the end. It's got one of those carburetors that slip off, one of the mounts that this is the carburetor part. You take off a clamp and it slips right in, and this bolts to the engine, obviously. So this had to completely come off to get it off, and then twist it and turn it and get it out. So I did get it loose, and I opened it up, and once again I'm being punished here. I don't think this could be fixed. I don't know how well you guys could see it, but I mean, this thing is completely messed up here. I mean, and God, does it stink. You know, once again, my punishment for letting it get into this condition. Oh man, love this bike, but this stupidity, if I go for the $125 gas tank, the $85 carb, make it $115 for the gas tank, so these numbers work out. There's $200, another $50 for the battery, $250. And once again, because I was stupid, because I didn't put the thing away properly. So, for those of you out there who have that project in the back of the garage, whether it's a nice truck or a motorcycle or whatever the heck it is, drag it out, clean the gas out of it, preserve the gas tank, preserve the carburetor, or you're going to have a mess like I have a mess. What am I going to do about it? At the moment, I'm scratching my head. I think, don't know, not positive, but I think I bought a Honda carburetor for this guy. And I'm not sure what the brand of knockoff was or if it'll fit. I seem to think it will. So I'm going to try. So I might have a knockoff carburetor floating around here in that pile, as a matter of fact, to put on it. And then just to get it started, I'll use my remote gas tank here and get it fired up. I think that's going to be the plan, because I do want to make sure she's runnable. Obviously, before I reach into my pocket and put a bunch more money into it. Well, I'm going to fix it, so I shouldn't be even second guessing it. These bikes are rare. Well, not rare. It's most of them, it seems that people blew up the rear ends and then took them apart, and now they no longer exist. The rear end on these things, kind of interesting. There's a shaft that goes straight through, axle to axle. And if you're familiar with the splines, on the two ends where one puts the wheels on, there's splines in the center. So this differential, that shaft and this shaft, bolt onto the differential. You got outboard bearings on both ends. And what happens is you actually slide it through. The splines grab I'm calling it a differential. It doesn't really have a differential. The splines come through, grab the right-hand drive. So all you have is splines here, splines, and splines on that end. And you run it along. And it seems that the fail mode is the splines, I don't know if they get rusty or trashy or whatever, but the splines let go in the center here. And then then obviously the shaft turns, makes the right hand turn, and it spins, but then it slips on the shaft, on the axle. And then obviously the whole thing has to be put together. These, I don't believe these slide over. I think they slide onto the axle. The way it goes together, I think this end goes through, and then you put this end on. So if you say, oh well, I'm going to cob it and weld it, you got to weld it from this side, but you just slid it through to be in the right place, which means how do you get in there to weld it? And once obviously you weld it, there's no sliding the sleeves over it, so there's not even a good hack for it. So that seems to be the fail mode with these things, and it seems that a lot of them die of that. I don't know. I haven't seen as many. I have a few big reds, 4 of them, I think. Well, if you include the 200, I think I have 4 of them. 1 200 and 3 250s. There might be another 250 floating around. I don't know. I can't even keep track. But they don't seem to blow up the rear ends as much, so I'm not quite sure how they're put together. And I'm not sure if once you blow up a rear end on this thing, if you can cob a big red rear end into it. I'm thinking not, but I mean maybe. I'm not sure how off all the geometries are. I'm not sure if you could put it all together. I got an attack cat here. Yeah, we had the cat to the vet. Thing's got cancer, so cancer on the face there. She looks like a train wreck, but she's eating and she doesn't seem to be in any pain, so we're gonna let her go as long as she goes, I guess. Anyway, just to show you guys the neck. This is a 1985. You can see her there, 250 SX. So yeah, the fail mode is blowing up the rear ends. Alright, take care, live, love, and have a great time. We'll catch you for the next episode of The Horde.